One thing that three of you have highlighted that just resonated with me suddenly, so I'm going to just jump in and tell my own quick story, is just the involvement of ordinary people in Beijing in sort of in helping you get the work done and helping move people around in what's like an incredibly big city. And it just made me think of this very short story. So I arrived to report on China for Time magazine in 2000 when Adi hired me. And this is a cab driver story, so I've never told it, but I had one cab driver who used to take me around quite a bit, and after I'd known him for 2 or 3 years, I asked him, "What's the furthest you've ever driven from Beijing?" And he said, "Oh, well, one time I drove all the way to Tibet." And I said, "Oh, that's a pretty far drive." I said, "When was that?" And there was an incredibly long pause, and he said, "Well, that was at the end of June 1989. And he told me that at the time he'd been working he was a truck driver, and he worked for a company that had a fleet of trucks. And he had driven wounded people off the streets of Beijing to hospitals all night. And he had gotten back to the headquarters for his trucking company, and his boss had said, "You're fired, get out of here." And so he left town. And when he finally came back to Beijing several months later, he found out that all of the truck drivers that worked for this company had all done that. And so they actually got their jobs back. But that's just sort of an image for me of how much ordinary people in Beijing were involved in these protests.